So how do we post to our T accounts, which you guys have the experience of doing from previous classes? How do you move from your journal entries, your journalized entries, to your T accounts? Very easy. We take it transaction by transaction. And this is the point whereby we will use this column right here. We will start from the very top. So the first sale that we had for the month of March was Jay Gordon. He purchased from us 187. So we need to make sure that we take this particular journal entry into our first T account. And to do that, we need to be aware that Jay Gordon is an accounts receivable. Accounts receivable fall under the asset accounts. And if you want to increase an asset account, you do it on the debit side, which is this side right here. So given that Jay Gordon owes us 187, we want to increase this account because he owes us 187. When he pays, then it will decrease. But at this point, it is increasing, so I need to make sure that I do a debit entry. So I'm going to start with the year, which is 2000. Did I say 21? Yeah, 2021. The date will remain the same, March 1st. March 1st. So, what exactly did Jay Gordon, what type of transaction, what happened exactly? That will be our description right here. Well, we sold to him, so it was a sale. So our description in this case would be sales. That's what happened, okay? So the reason why Jay Gordon's account is increasing, it's because of a sale. So what was the amount of that sale? The amount was 187. So amount 187. Now, we can tackle the folio column in different ways. In fact, there are students that do it differently from what I'm doing it, and it doesn't make it wrong. So let me start from here. The question that I always ask students is, from where is this transaction coming from? And you might say, well, it's coming from a source document, and you're not wrong. But after you have the source document, and after you analyze the transaction and you journalize it, it's really coming immediately right before you bring it to the ledger. It's coming from the day book, from a day book. So we'll be making reference to that right now. So from which journal or day book is this particular transaction coming from? Well, it's coming from this day book, this sales day book. Remember how I moved this transaction to here? Well, this transaction right here, it's coming from the sales day book. So in the folio, we will abbreviate sales day book, and we will say folio SDB, which stands for sales day book. Now, this transaction right here, where did we take it? We took this transaction to a sales ledger. Okay? We took this transaction to a sales ledger. So that was the point I was trying to make across when I explained this to you. So again, let me repeat. This transaction was taken to a specific T account that we know at this point as sales ledger. It's a sales ledger, and so the folio here would be SL, not J. Gordon. We will not write J. Gordon here because we have that information here. We want to know the type of account, and J. Gordon is a sales ledger. So that's the reason why here we write SL. In fact, all our all our accounts receivable, as I explained earlier, are sales ledgers. So you would see that we will use the SL throughout here. I will explain it with a second example in a bit. Okay, so I've done the first one. In the same way that I did this, I can first start from here and move it to the T account, or write the folio here and then move to the T account. I'm not sure if that made sense. Let me do an example so that you can see what I mean. So this particular transaction, March 3rd, G. Abrahams, we need to take this journal entry to a sales ledger, specifically to this T account. So what I will do is I will transfer this transaction to an SL, to a sales ledger. Remember, all of these accounts are considered sales ledgers, okay? Accounts receivable, they are considered sales ledgers. So I'm going to transfer this to a sales ledger. Once I come here, I can record that transaction or post this transaction. Okay, so I'm going to say, first of all, the year is 2021, March 3rd. What type of transaction did we have? It was sales. The amount, 166. It's a debit entry again because we are trying to increase G. Abrahams. He owes us this amount. It's an accounts receivable. We are increasing it. Now the question again, from where is this transaction coming from? It's coming from this day book. Specifically from this day book, which we know is called a sales day book. So our folio would be sales day book. So we have a folio here and we have a folio here. So we're good. Now I move on to the next transaction. Again, I can start here and then move here, but it doesn't really matter once you fill out all the columns and you do it correctly. So the next transaction that I need to post is this journal entry. So I need to move this transaction to this T account that I opened. So it's going to be March 6th, V White. So V White 2021. March 6th. It was also sales, $12. From where is this transaction coming from? This transaction is coming direct. This is the specific transaction. It's coming from the sales day book. So our folio would be SDB. You have to keep in mind you need to include a folio here, and remember that this transaction was posted to this T account, which falls under sales ledger. So we abbreviate that and we say SL. Moving on, March 10th, J. Gordon, $55. So we've used this account before. So I just go back to it. The new date is March 10th. Again, I'm increasing it because it's still sales. It's sales on credit. So sales, the amount, $55. So from where is this transaction coming? It's coming from the sales day book. So we abbreviate sales day book. Where did we take this transaction? We took it to this specific T account, which falls under the sales ledger category. So it's going to be SL. And we repeat that process. So I'll just go ahead and I'll repeat the process for the remaining transactions. So F. Williams, I increase the account by doing a debit entry. March 17th. Sales, $289. This transaction is coming from this day book, so it's sales day book, and this transaction was transferred to a sales ledger. Then I have U Richards on March 19th. U Richards 2021 March 19th. It's still sales. The amount $66. This transaction is coming from the sales day book. And this transaction was posted to an SL. V Wong March 27th 2021 March 27th. Sales $28. This transaction is coming from the sales day book, so folio SBB. This transaction was taken to a sales ledger. And the last transaction, March 31st. Sales, amount $78. This transaction is coming from the sales day book, so we write SDB. This transaction was posted to a sales ledger.